Silverstein, at least that's his social media handle. He is a expert in leather and handmade luxury goods. He is respected all over. His whole account is him buying expensive stuff, deconstructing it, taking it apart to show you whether it's even worth a fraction of the price tag or not. You guys, I beg you, just listen to what he has to say. There's 3 videos in here. Just listen.
Made in Italy, made in China, or maybe made in Chile. Oh yeah, that should be a thing, by the way, because some brands get real creative when it comes to made in labels, bringing that Chinese labor to the European land to protect that fancy labels while cutting costs everywhere else. But what does these made in labels really mean? I've seen leather goods from all over the world, and honestly, the country name on the label means almost nothing to me. It's who made it and how. But for consumers, that label still hits hard. And for that reason, some brands hide made in China labels deep in the bag in dark fonts. Because let's admit it, we flinch when we see that, especially on a luxury leather bag. Here's the truth though. Every country has a range of quality in the craftsmanship. Italy, mostly mid to high quality, and some exceptional stuff, while some terrible goods. China, on the other hand, a good chunk on the low end to mid. Yes, but also a sliver at the top tier. And yes, world-class work is also coming out of China at smaller quantities. These charts change in time. Economics shift, skills evolve. And guess what? China has been doing the work. Decades of intense manufacturing built some serious skills. I was in Guangzhou last month. Gasoline cars almost gone. Their EVs look amazing, drive smooth, and they are everywhere. Maybe that's why Elon Musk suddenly became a politician. He sees what's coming. China isn't just copying anymore. They start to innovate. And the same thing is happening in leather, quietly. They've got skilled hands because they have been doing the work. In summary, labels do not guarantee quality. They just suggest a probability within that distribution chart. And guess what? You don't need to rely on that chance. You've got eyes, hands, and the experience. Feel the leather. Judge the craft, not the country. More importantly, what do you think about maiden labels when buying leather goods? And where should we explore in the leatherverse next? Drop a comment below and let's go there.
Exposing luxury brands, Lululemon, Louis Vuitton, Hermes, all of these brands is real. My parents worked in import-export my whole life. Over 30 years they have been in this. Before Alibaba was a thing, my parents were the middleman. American companies will come to them and say, hey, we want these things made in China. And my parents will go actually to China and source the goods and find the factories to make whatever product it might be. Products get shipped back to the US, they slap a label on it, they sell it at, major retail stores. I have known this, that luxury brands are made in the same factory as knockoff brands. When I was in college, I had a pair of UGG boots that just didn't have the UGG tag on it, because my parents went to the factory and they were sourcing for a shoe company. They said, hey, we're sending you this pair. It was literally $5. You love UGGs. It doesn't have the logo, but it's the same quality from the same factory. I have known this for basically my whole life. And the fact that this is just now coming out is hilarious to me. Just because it's made in China doesn't mean it's garbage. Just because it's made in Italy doesn't mean it's amazing. And most of the time it's not. So beware of what you're buying and don't just always buy designer things. That is all.
So this is a video that I wanted to make in itself in relation to this comment. So what a lot of people don't know is that many high-end brands, including Prada, will do this thing where they manufacture a singular tiny component of their ready-to-wear or bags, accessories in Italy. So let's say like 2% of that product was made in Italy, and then 98% of that product was manufactured in China. Now, what that company will then do is, because, say, like in this example, the zipper pull was made in Italy, they can then attach a tag that says made in Italy, tricking you as a consumer into thinking that the entire product was made in Italy, when in when in reality, only the zipper pull was made in Italy. So make sure that you do your research, because a lot of brands do this. Let me know if you want a list of them. I'll be happy to provide that. But thanks for watching.
Permission to be mean? Y'all are being so fucking lame. I just feel like we have severely lost the plot on either side of the conversation around Chinese manufacturers creating luxury goods. On one hand, you have the camp of fashion people who, for some reason, will defend these European European luxury brands as if their life depends on it, as if these aren't private equity backed, profit making machines. Maybe because you've already invested thousands of dollars and you don't want to look stupid, that you cannot believe that they would take cost cutting measures in order to increase their profit. Be so for real. Did we all just forget about this? But what about the French artisans at Hermes? That's not the point. These companies still don't deserve your money, and I'm gonna tell you why. But if you don't trust it coming out of a Chinese person's mouth, because I get it, maybe they're just trying to sell dupes. Nonetheless, here is a fashion documentary done with incredible investigative journalism in 2018 exposing how luxury brands abuse Senegalese migrant workers to produce your beloved leather goods. And this one was made by white people, if that makes you feel better. And until those luxury brands publish their supply chain to you, why do you trust them so bad? I just don't understand how there is any response that is appropriate to this news besides buy vintage, buy from small designers.
Don't believe me? Well, let's take a trip back over to Tannery's TikTok account. Again, his whole career, very well respected in all the industry, is buying expensive bags and deconstructing them to look at the actual quality of the leather, of the hardware, of everything. So if you don't believe me, let's let him actually show you his work in progress. Again, before you go in to buy, know what you're paying for.
I have spent almost $1,800 on 3 wallets from Hermes, Louis Vuitton, and Bottega. Yet, I was still disappointed. Each of these wallets lacked at least one major thing I was looking for. But I was determined to have the perfect wallet, and I found the solution. Let me tell you the story of my disappointment with these 3 luxury wallets. The Hermes Calvi was incredibly good leather, chevre. I loved it, but the simplicity of the design was a major turnoff. It was simply 2 pieces of leather folded into a shape and locked with a snap. I was looking for some level of artisanal sophistication, and it wasn't there. Then I tried the LV pocket organizer. I loved the leathers and the smart design of it, but the excessive LV monogram made it too tacky for me to comfortably use it. And the price was a bit too much for what it is. Next, I loved the wallet I found at Bottega. It was intricate and unique in design. Very nice craftsmanship, inside out, nice feeling leather. I thought until I dissected it for a review video. I realized the main leather used on the outside was a split covered with PU instead of the advertised fine calfskin. This was the largest disappointment of all. Having lost my trust in these big brands, I decided to make this dream wallet for myself. As first step, I went to the Tuscany region in Italy to pick the most natural artisan vegetable tan leathers that are not possible to find in large brands, as they like the standardized leathers for mass production reasons. And these natural leathers don't fit into those models. I picked 21 different leather articles to try. Then I designed a functional wallet that was inside out great leather. And more importantly, I hate the eventually failing edge paint. So this wallet couldn't have it. I wanted to last decades and opted in for the English seam, which is a time-tested technique of double folded edges to give that longevity. It's a complex process that takes time and experienced craftsmanship. Unfortunately, that became a problem. Even though I successfully made prototypes in my workshop, when I decided to make production of it, my team failed to craft it consistently due to lack of mastery at this level. I ended up in Ubrique to find skilled hands to trust with this production. After a few Europe trips in several months, I finally received my first batch and given it a dissection to see what I received from my new workshop partner in Spain. As I opened the wallet, beautiful, clean workmanship inside, everything is executed masterfully. The RFID blocking fabric placed nicely, leather skived and splitted beautifully. We removed the semi-aniline finish from the vegetable tan bull hide, seeing the beautiful full grain underneath. For the inner lining, we use a chrome tan cowhide with aniline finish. There is not much acetone gave us here. On the pocket linings, acetone didn't give us anything because this leather doesn't have a finish. Completely aniline, naked calfskin. As it is certified by the Tuscany Vegetable Tannery Association, the leather burns like wood. It gives a black charcoal residue. I'm 100% sure it's full vegetable tan leather, as I was sold by my tannery partners. The leathers I choose for inner, the black lining and the orange lining, are chrome tanned. The only other body is the vegetable tan leather. Now, the cost estimate is not an estimate anymore because we know all the numbers behind this work. The leather is a little over 3 square foot, $22 for the total leather consumption. The workmanship in Ubrique is around $38. In total, we spent about $60 for leather and labor to make this wallet. The price of the wallet is $169. I made my initial calculations according to my costs in Turkey. It's slightly higher on Spain now, but I'm gonna keep that price for a while to give people a taste of this exceptional craft. If you want to check it out, it's available on my website in 9 different color options. I'm very happy with the result. It took about a year and a half to get to this point, but I've been using the prototypes for over a year now, and I'm happy with what we came up with.
And remember that video that launched it all? Sin's Bags saying that they could make a $38,000 Birkin for $1,400. Well, guess what? Tanneria, again, he is the foremost expert. He actually weighed in on that. And he actually said that he thinks those claims are false, but not for the reason you think. They're false because it should actually be half of that. It shouldn't be any more than $500 or $600. And baby, this is using top quality leather and components. But you know what? Don't take my word for it. Listen to an expert on his day off explain the price points. Listen.
TikTok trade wars. So it turns out there is another trend going on, and I'm not aware, as I'm off news and social media for 5 years now. But regardless, I got so many questions, I had to do my commentary on a family trip that I'm in Barcelona now. So I watched the main video where the guy breaks down the cost of a Birkin.
So now to sum those up, the total cost will be $1,400 USD for one Birkin out of factory.
For a $38,000 Birkin. And this might surprise you, but his cost estimate is too high. And there are other inaccuracies in his original video. So let's break down that video and point out the accurate and inaccurate information in his video. He starts with listing the materials and the cost of it. And he shows the leather that says Togo. But the leather there, this leather, is not Togo. The second thing he says is true. The material supply chain, everything is available in China. Yes, that is true. A lot of Chinese buyers drop $500,000 on one leather shipment in European tanneries to buy real Togo to make counterfeit bags. That's true. Leather is available, but most of the counterfeits in China doesn't use that real leather. And, those tanneries can't even make that much anyways. Then he says,
one piece of Togo leather, the same leather as this one, will cost $450 USD.
That's not true. The Togo from Weinheimer today costs about $330. On average, 22 square foot at 13 euros a foot. You do the math. He says another true thing about the stainless steel, the ocean steel hardware.
The hardware. See, for one piece of bag, the hardware will cost $150 USD.
Yes, that's the top grade hardware, and it's available in China. That's also true. But it doesn't cost $150. That's also padded. But then he adds up all these costs, saying that the total is $1,450. That sounds a bit steep to me because I was in Guangzhou last month. I've seen these top level fake Birkins that is way better than the one he's showing in the video. And they were selling at $500, made with real Togo and stainless steel. So I'm assuming his exaggeration is to sell his fakes or dupes at a 3x multiplier, leveraging a trend now. And that's kind of where the problem starts, because if you're going to expose anything, if there's anything to expose, you better be accurate. And there's so many inaccuracies in this video that kind of makes me not to think much of this content. He also has a very accurate point where he says China has the skills and talent as well as the materials. That's absolutely true. But the problem is most of that talent is going to make fakes or dupes of these known brands. In my opinion, why not China is producing their own designs, own brands, using these beautiful hardware, beautiful material they have, with incredible skill they have, all I know and believe, and sell that bag for $500, which is very profitable in their cost structures. Believe me, I know. But the problem is why your option should be a dupe of a classic, iconic bag from a European brand. Why not these individuals make their own creations and offer that quality at a very affordable price point under their own brand name? That's the real challenge I invite all Chinese people to take on in this trade war. I think that's the real meaning. I'm not here to judge anybody making fake bags, anybody buying or using fake bags, but here's what I think. Here's my understanding of the concept. And I think it should start with increasing the moral looseness that China has on some of these matters. Because if you're going to make a video that's going to go viral and impact the world, it better be accurate. Otherwise, you're going to lose your credibility.
So according to an interview given to Vogue, all Hermes Birkins are made in France. In a small little factory where only like 12 artisans work. Yeah, right. All the Birkins in all of the stores worldwide are coming from one place with 12 workers? There's no way. Luxury houses have been hiding their exploitation of cheap labor for years. In the US, Louis Vuitton manufacturing pays $18 an hour, which is why their rate of wasted product is over 40%. And it's not stable, it's climbing. And both Louis Vuitton and Hermes have been accused of poor labor practices in France. There's articles everywhere about it. Design houses have been using shadow labor in Asia for years. I'm glad they're getting called out on it. I'm just here because I want the tip and the contact information for Restoration Hardware. That's it. Screw the handbags. I don't want any.
So we got two responses, Lululemon and Louis Vuitton, both of them saying they don't finish products in China. Duh, that's what the Chinese people said. They say, we almost put it together 80, 90%, and then we ship it. And then you stamp your name and made in your country, and then you're finished. So essentially, they're not denying or they're not acknowledging that it's not true. All the other brands, silent at this point, because what is our biggest takeaway? The Birkin bag that was being sold, the dupe in Walmart, was being made in the same factory that the real one was made in. Watches, expensive watches, made in the same factory as the dupes that are sold. Same parts, same people are building them. Why are we paying more for shit? Why? So that you can walk around and flex? I don't know. Anyways, just so you all know, $500 billion was spent in 2024, and another 500 plus billion will be spent in 2025 on dupes. It's a way of life. People have been doing it for a long time. Don't be paying people on this app to say that they have a list of trusted buyers. No. You just got to order stuff and you got to see if it's good quality. And if it's not, move on to the next vendor. It's that simple. Some of these bags are 30, 40 bucks, you know, and if you pay 100, 120, you get a little bit nicer quality. You get a little bit nicer bag. I mean, you're going to pay for what you get, right? If you're going to buy a $40 bag, it's probably not going to be that good and not going to last you that long.
Know why Western media and propaganda brainwash you into thinking products made in China are cheap trash for years? If they don't, who on earth is gonna buy that overpriced $30,000 Hermes designer bag, their $100 Lululemon leggings? Our luxury brands and monopolized corporations maintain their 90% profit margin. And where does that money come from? In fact, the whole time that you have been lied to thinking Chinese factories were sweatshops, Chinese factories are going in a complete transition of automation with cutting-edge technology. Phone you're holding, the clothes you are wearing, and this power bank that Trump has been using are all made in China. You name the product. China can make it in bulk, in the best quality, and in the shortest time.
The Chinese takedown of luxury goods is wild right now because luxury goods are a huge source of soft power for the West. Soft power is power through things like culture, music, even language. Like US TV shows, that's a form of soft power because it makes the US aspirational and desirable in some ways. So with luxury brands, Fendi, Prada, Gucci, these Birkins, it creates this aspiration for the West or aspiration to be European in a way, showing that Europe is this gold standard of quality. But when China's revealing that 80% of anything you buy that's Gucci is made in China, that over 60% of anything that you buy from Prada is made in China, that the only difference is that they send it over to Europe and then they stitch on a made in France or made in Italy little label. It's the ultimate pulling the curtain on the wizard in the Wizard of Oz and showing that there actually is no real magic and power in the person who's controlling Oz. I think it's going to be really interesting because there is such a stigma of something that's made in China. There's this perception of lesser quality in the West. But when you reverse that paradigm, when you show that all these goods that you thought were better because they came from Italy or France or wherever, when actually, in actuality, it comes from China, you're forcing consumers to reckon with why they make choices. So if consumers are going to start questioning the perceived worth of luxury goods, consumers are going to then realize that luxury brands are just high markup middlemen. They're just peddling an idea of something versus an actual quality good. And you can just then cut them out and go to the source. And so I think what China is doing right now, by shifting this perception of soft power, by taking back soft power, by showing real power in infrastructure and manufacturing, we're going to see a real flip in a lot of things, whether it comes to labor market, whether it comes to manufacturing, whether it comes to who buys luxury goods and perception of luxury as well.